My name is Lior Kesos, and I'm one of the leaders behind the MEAN.JS project. And just to get an idea, how many of you have tinkered around with MEAN.IO? Okay, that's cool. So I'll try to buzz through the basics and try to do like a little installation. And basically, when you look at the MEAN stack, so it just came from that HTML5 DevConf, and many front-end developers are kind of assembling their own stack. And they just because they see different kind of traction and stuff like that, they kind of consolidate and find themselves using the MEAN stack. It started with Angular, and then I need the server-side element. And if I'm already not using like Rails or PHP or something like that, so I'd rather use Node with JavaScript and stay, in this kind of JavaScript ecosystem. What plays well with Node.js? Mongo plays well with Node, and it's kind of a no-brainer to kind of stumble upon this stack. But everyone, including us, and I'll speak about it, this kind of assembles it slightly differently. Grunt versus Gulp, Foundation versus Bootstrap, this versus that, Mongo versus Couchbase. And everybody kind of assembles it slightly different. And I come from, I am the CTO of a company, like a services company back in Israel. And we had a lot of experience with Drupal, building like different services for different companies. And whenever we wanted to create an application and try to do it with Drupal, it wasn't performant enough. It basically wasn't the right tool for the job. So we started playing around with full stack JavaScript, and we found that same thing that I just described. Each one of our developers was assembling slightly differently, putting stuff together, in a slightly different way. And for a company, that's actually pretty bad, because I want to use the package or the model or that kind of cool method or cool API I've done in this project within the same company on a different project, and I can't do it. So we got to the conclusion we need some kind of a boilerplate. One of the developers showed a really cool boilerplate to start from that specific point. And we saw this was pretty cool. It standardized our stack. And we released it to the world. And about a year and a bit afterwards, there's more than 5,000 stars. Many people like in GitHub. People are really kind of getting into it. And I'm going to show you our way of working with the MEAN stack and try to explain why working within our system, will give you just the best thing for the time that you spend in it. So, obviously, so quick word for our sponsors. So thanks again to Geekdom and Rackspace and Commander.io, which is a hashbang thing, and for the space and the keg and everything. So I spoke about this kind of different, these different stacks and different things, but JavaScript is everywhere. It's on the Angular, it's on the server. Now it's, the Tesla, it's on a circuit on the board. It's on all of the mobile development. And it's a safe bet to bet on JavaScript. You go back, played around with Node like 3 years ago. I don't know, it was pretty kind of just coming in together. I don't know if I could say, but now I could definitely say, it's in the enterprise, it's everywhere. And if you need to bet your career on programming language, at least for the next 3 to 5 years, I think JavaScript is a safe bet. And there's the Jeff Atwood's law, which is any application that can be written in JavaScript will eventually be written in JavaScript. It's like the common denominator. Everybody knows JavaScript. .NET developers know JavaScript. Unix gurus know JavaScript. Now it's in the tooling. It's just everywhere. And let's try to see where we stand with MEAN.IO. So if you look at the grander and the bigger kind of picture, so there's boilerplates. Just to like Sail.js, different kind of boilerplates that just set you going. And we in MEAN.IO was actually initially a boilerplate. Like I said, we just wanted to set up and share, this kind of knowledge. But the boilerplate in a way is kind of like a one-night stand. There's no commitment there. There's no relationship. You just kind of set up and you're done. And because I've been doing like open source for 15 years. I know that the open source models works. I want to make it sustainable. I want to make it a business. You know, it's open source and business is not like mutually excluded, or however. I'm not exactly my mother tongue, excuse me. But anyway, we wanted to do this movement from a boilerplate to a framework. You know, to move from this first kind of engagement to recurring engagement. And within that movement, I'll speak and I'll show you what we actually did. But if we look at the whole picture, so there's boilerplates, you know, Sail.js, MEAN.JS, Meteor. Just a quick word about MEAN.JS. So it's simply another project that we started together. They stayed in the boilerplate stage and took it in one direction. We did this kind of trip to the framework. It took us a couple of months, but we're pretty proud of where we are. And so it's actually, there's a difference between them. And if you look, so in the framework world, you have Django and Rails and Symfony and stuff. In the CMS, you have WordPress and Drupal. So what's happening is that we basically started from here, went to here. Our community is starting to write all these kind of little CMS trinkets and little things. So we're someplace in that middle. So I mentioned this before, you know, style and practice and component standardization. How can we use the same code across different projects? There was like multiple languages. You do stuff, you know, Drupal, it's like you do stuff in PHP and you need to know MySQL and jQuery and this and that and this, all of this. And it's just to actually master and to actually be very strong with it's an expensive process. It takes time, 6 months, 8 months to really be good. And now new developers that onboard the system, they have some experience even with .NET, with MVC, philosophy, development philosophy. They just, you know, or coming from Rails, they just kind of hit the ground running, and you know, in a couple of weeks they're writing, you know, meaningful code. And we're simply coding faster. You know, as you know, we're a services company, Linovate, the company behind MEAN.IO, and we simply, and we have really cool hundreds of downloads a day. Like, I'll just show you this real quick. So basically, this is the graph since we've started. So like initially it was like 6 downloads a day, and you know, now it's just going out of whack, you know, and stuff like that. But basically, it's past the 500, was in the 1,000. It's just kind of playing around with that. And people are tweeting and stuff like that. And anyway, it's pretty cool. So Starks and Forks, and we have a really cool Facebook, really friendly kind of community. It's really important to create a friendly community that takes people and onboards them, kind of is patient. I mean, the open source movement was built upon RTFM, you know, this kind of thing. And it's, I think I've been working with Drupal for 7, 8 years, and my experience was delightful. I came in, people were friendly, they helped me out, and a lot of my experience is that initial connection with the community is very, very important. We're trying to create like a real cool community with culture, with the right culture and stuff like that. So, so we have neat traction, and this is like MEAN.IO in Google Trends, which I was kind of blowed my mind. So basically, there's the MEAN stack, this blue line, but this is like Sail.js and Meteor.js, which I mean, Meteor is huge, but we're pretty much in the same area, you know, just from a trend. And Meteor is like meteors, right? It's like funded and huge, and we're just kind of out of our garage and kind of bootstrapping ourselves. So we need to do something about that. That's the reason we came to San Francisco, to kind of hang out in Menlo Park. But basically, we're working on it. Anyway, about 2.5 months ago, we get this mail from a guy called Brian Lynch from Google. And he says, look, we need to use, you have a copyright on that AMP thing, and we just want to put put it in some kind of offering. Say, okay, and what is it? So actually, MEAN.IO was the first web application platform to be part of the click to deploy in Google Cloud. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I was shocked as well. You know, it was whoa. Yeah, sure, whatever. You know, take my logo, take my life, take it my children, sure. But anyway, so we're there. People, you know, can install us by click. It's a pretty cruel and not very sophisticated conversion, because it's something, you know, you click on the button, okay, give me money. You know, so it's not very really aggressive, you know, this kind of conversion that they have. But people are installing it. We see like real-time install from Mountain View, and it's pretty cool. So so let's talk about MEAN.IO. And I'll talk about stuff, and then I'll show you stuff in the terminal, and so it's show you the internal. But basically, MEAN.IO is built by the basic technologies of Mongo, Express, Angular, and Node. Okay. Upon that, there are the core models. Now, this is like a pretty recent change, where we have, it's just like the Linux kernel. Initially, there was like a monolithic kernel that had like a one function to it, and then you would be totally, in our world, you'd be totally bound to Mongo. You'd be totally bound to using Express or something like that. And we need to take care of that. So we have, in the upcoming version, we have these things are a modular, and we'll be able to switch in and switch out this thing. There's a lot of work to be done in this area, but basically there's another, the core itself is the core plus the package, plus the model. Now, as I said, we embarked on this journey from a boilerplate to a framework. In this journey, we made everything a package. We have this blog post called the packagination. I'm not sure that's an actual verb, but the packagination of everything. It's just taking everything and making it a package. So if any of you guys installed MEAN.IO 4 or 5 months ago, so when you installed it, you'd have root directory app, root directory public, so there's all the server side and all of the client side. Remember, this is like a full stack JavaScript platform, so it has server and client. And what we did is we made everything a packages. So basically what you'll see now in the document structure, everything is off/packages. The next stage was, after we have the core packages, we have a bunch of contributed packages. And our plan in the future, we have all kind of plans, but our plan in the future is to have both open and commercial packages. Because the idea is we imagine this future where like an Ukrainian web development company gives a service to an American entrepreneur that wants to build like a dating site. And let's say they have the actual IP and they're allowed to do it. So they take the site, they kind of then and non-billing hours make it kind of generic, and they resell it. If you know Theme Forest, if you know the commercial ecosystem around WordPress, Magento, you know, you can resell and sell open source components. So what we understand is that if our community can actually innovate and create commercial packages, and they can actually make money, we'll make money. That's not the, you know, we want to create a commercial ecosystem around MEAN.IO. So basically we'll have open and commercial packages. And the next thing beyond that, and this is, I'll show you glimpses of that, is the MEAN network. Because basically the MEAN network is this same app store or marketplace that has, you can affiliate Rackspace or affiliate, I don't know, like New Relic or Stripe. There's enough ways to kind of work with these different marketplaces. You could show yourself. We're building stuff called Build with MEAN.IO to create brand loyalty. We have developers saying we are MEAN developers. Just like people say I'm a Rails developer, I'm a Drupal developer. So, and we want to make it stronger. We want to have like a commercial index of companies that build with MEAN.IO. They can showcase their cool site they built with MEAN.IO. So that's going to be built with MEAN. And one of the initial services we're going to give is the MEAN Pass. we're building our own kind of Heroku. So, and I'll show you in the, we have all these command lines, and you have a mean deploy, and everything will go to the cloud. And everything's saved in our repositories, the package and apps repositories. So let's kind of play around with some code. So I have my backup plan, which is, if you look here, I'll make it bigger. That's big enough. So under my SF directory, I have foo, okay, which is just something I just installed a couple of minutes ago. But let's try to do a full install, and we'll jump down to foo if there's a problem. So let's do mean init bar, okay? If you see this mean command line, this is the result of what happens if I do npm install -g mean io. We won't, and trust me, it installs mean on the system. Okay, then I have the actual mean command line. So I do mean init. If I do mean without any commands, I have the normal kind of help pages and stuff like that. And then for the effect, I'll minimize, and I'll take this down like this. You'll understand in a minute. And I do mean init bar. Okay, so now I'm basically cloning the mean, the actual mean. Ha! Look, cool. ASCII art. We're really artists in our soul. But anyway, so we can go back to normal size text. So now if I go to cd bar, okay, now I'm inside the basic installation. Now the basic installation, there's a lot of dependencies. If you play around with all of these stacks, they have like tons of npm dependencies, a ton of Bower dependencies. So to take the next step, you just do npm install. Basically, this reads the package JSON. It's going to read the dev dependencies, and it's go and fetch like tons of stuff in npm. And once it's finished looking for all this stuff in npm, it will run some kind of post-install script, and then in the end, it will get to the Bower, which are, I mean, if for people that are don't know, so we have npm and package JSON where all of the node-based dependencies reside, and then we have Bower with Bower JSON where all of the client-side dependencies reside. And I'll have a small story about something totally irrelevant. Here's the installing the Bower dependencies. And basically, we're installing the system. I'll demo stuff off the foo thing that they won't waste your time. So, cd pw. So if you see, if I look at the actual, let's see this. So if I look at my directories tree, and you see this bar I just installed. So as I said, you know, we have this packages directory. I'll just try to make this even bigger. So inside this packages, there's a bunch of, these are the core packages, okay? So we have the users package. You know, if we, 1 second, I'll just jump back. Let's see if it finished. Cool. So it's finished. And now to run the system, I just run grunt. Okay, so grunt reads the grunt file, and it has like instructions of how to set up, you know, different tasks regarding setting up the server. And if I go to localhost 3000, this is what I see. I'll log out just so you actually understand. This is what I see as I just look at the mean. You can check out the documentation, our packages, our community, our friendly community. And you can create your first user here, okay? Or log in here. So I'm going to log in. Okay. Now, what we had here, because we had a mean JSON, this is for people that's playing around with mean.io, it's kind of new. So we create, this is dependencies between mean packages. So I said, okay, if you install this package, you also need to install that package. So I'm installing mean.io, and the dependence was a package called mean.admin. Okay, and no. Okay. So this thing is the mean and min package, and just gives us a bunch of stuff, you know, and this just gives out of the box some basic CMS-ish capabilities, some visibility to the users you've created. So I can just, this is boot swatch theme, so I can just pick a theme, install it, and oh, yay, it looks kind of different. And let's go to a different theme. It looked kind of different, and then we go back to our initial theme. We have the users in the system, okay? So I can create a new user from here, give it authenticated or admin. So there's like a role-based system inside. We have these cool guys from India, a development firm there called QAD42. So they just made a full ACL permission. So they have a blog post which I plugged in the blog. In this blog, MEAN.JS/blog. Yeah, so we always have stuff like that. So these are these guys. They're really cool. Anyway, so as we look at the actual result, so there's a bunch of variables, you know, and initially they're going to become variables per package. And these are the packages that are installed. Now, when I installed this, okay, so now I have this kind of, now if I want to take, this is the basic mean. Now let's say I want to add an additional package. And so the first thing I want to tell you about is how to look for packages and how to figure out which packages to install. So you could go to MEAN.JS/packages, and there's just a list of stuff. Now, it's about 15 packages here or something like that. But you could also come here and do mean search comments. And this is like an apt cache search or a yum search for, you know, Linux enthusiasts. So you can look and just yum search, I think gives you everything. Not yum, sorry. Mean search. Mean search the CRUD. No, mean search, let's say crop. So I have like different packages and I can try to figure my way if I'm more into the command line. So now I'm going to install a package called tokens. And token just lets you play around with text in and replace text in the site. So it comes, I just do a mean install, and immediately, if I go back here and I rerun grunt, if you see, you'll see I have a little toggle here, and I have another menu item called all tokens. And we'll play around and see the code for some of this stuff. But the idea is what this does is I come to edit, and I do create new article, okay? Now what this just did, this was a directive, you know, this is the mean token directive in Angular, wrapping, you know, whatever markup I have. If I want anything to be translated now, so I just give it like this directive. If we look up here, and we go to inspect element, and what you'll see here, if it's big enough, yeah. So you see mean token, okay? So this specific directive is what enables us to store that token and manage it in database. If we look here, we look at all of the tokens. So I'll find this specific token, create new article. I can also edit from here. Okay, yeah. That's a great question. The initial MEAN.io installation comes from GitHub, Linovate/mean. The actual packages initially were inside Linovate created in GitHub, but we want to create a world where there's many packages that you can create your own packages, accept PR requests, and we need. And that's exactly where we started to work on the mean network. So if I come to my command line and I do this mean who am I, okay? Here I'm already logged in. But you would do like a mean register, you would log in, and now each request that happens from the command line has the headers. It knows, basically knows how to identify you, okay? So when you publish a new package, you'll be able, and I'll show you, we'll write the package, we'll play around, we create our own package, and we'll publish it to the network. And that way you'll see why we can't do this on GitHub. We want to do it on our place. But beyond that, there's a bunch of services we want to do upon that. Because we work with developers, and they're trying to host it on OpenShift or on Heroku, and we want to make it effortless. Just like Heroku did for Rails. So all of the Rails developers were kind of working, they wanted to figure out how to put something up, even before they scale, just something up to the front of the application. So all of the tutorials say, okay, you do the Heroku push, you install the Heroku tool belt, and you do this and that. So basically, that's exactly what we're building right now, just to kind of take care of our community and to give them, it's a free service. We're going to sponsor it, the actual free hosting of these packages. And I don't know, one day we'll also monetize it, but initially it's free. But we need the MEAN network to understand your identity, okay? So let's go back here. Sure. So basically, you gave the lecture last time. I just hand building and assembling, this whole stack, and we did it like pretty much the same, just kind of Mongoose and Mongo and Passport and everything, just the same. We're trying, and there's lots of tweets of our community saying, oh, I spent the last 3 weeks kind of figuring out Garant and this and Mongoose and that and getting everything to work together, and then I saw your stack and it took me 5 minutes. Well, at least I understand what's going on. But a lot of the developers, there's a lot of developers just want to prototype something quickly and don't really even care. I'm not judging them. I'm not saying, they're good developers or bad developers. Maybe they don't have time. Maybe they want to put, they're like a front-end guy that just wants to put his effort on just the actual design and stuff like that. So I don't know. But basically what we're trying to do is for the 80% that can't assemble their own stack, the 20% that can install. We just want it to be as frictionless as possible. Just mean init, mean just what I did now. Nothing here is complicated. This, that, and it's up in the air. So, and what I'm trying to show is that it's possible to just bypass all of the manual combination and to teach you about the building blocks you would look at right now, and then how to build those building blocks. So if take it and I start hacking around in the articles package or in the system, stuff like that, a release will come out and break my system. So that's, and then you see people that have been around for a while with MEAN.io just trying to kind of tinker with the system to keep up with the version. That's not the experience I want to do. I want it to be a delightful experience. So we wanted to have a different package. You want to change it, you create your own package, you can override, or simply kidnap the whole UI to your own package. So I'm going to show you this stuff. But basically what we saw, we had the base installation, and we extended it with another one. I'll just give a quick, okay, so now let's create our own package, okay? So to create our own package, it's really, really easy. And all I do is MEAN package, okay? And let's call this Geekdom, okay? So what this just did, it scaffolded, I think that's a verb, packages. So we have contrib, which is the tokens and the MEAN admin, installed it into contrib. But then we have the custom. And inside custom, we have this new package called Geekdom. Now if I do a grunt right now, you'll see that we already have a menu. And we'll just show you how that menu kind of automatically appeared. And what you have in this menu, this is a server route that anyone can access. So I'm going to go into like anonymous mode kind of thing. Okay, thank you. Okay, so if I go to localhost 3000 and I go to that specific route, so okay, so if I take this route, copy link, go here, put it here in the this thing. So anyone can, so also that anonymous route can access that, and we saw that. But here, if I go to a server route that requires authentication. So I'm logged in, and I'm logged in user. But if I take this and I show it here, the user is not authorized. So you see, you see it's kind of working with the authentication system and stuff like that. I won't, you get the idea. Now, okay. So basically, we have our own package. Let's try to tinker and then do something else with this package. So I'll go to the editor, and here there's packages and custom and Geekdom. And inside Geekdom, you see we have a public and a server. So basically, again, we're a full stack framework. So we have the public Angular side and the server Node.js, Mongo, and Express side. So if we want to see how this page is, the first thing that we need to check out is the app.js. So this is like our main manifest file. And here it's creating like a require of the MEAN.IO model, and then it instates like new model in Geekdom, and then you have geekdom.register. These are like the basic APIs to kind of get this going. So if I'll take this and I'll change, this is the Geekdom welcome, okay, and this is the Geekdom welcome link, and this is authenticated. But if I want to get it to admin or something like that, I could do that. I can also say this is connected to a specific menu. Okay. Then I have the ability to aggregate some CSS. Okay. So and we maybe can play around with aggregation as well. So this is where all of that stuff resides. And let's just save that. And if I'll reload, so Geekdom welcome link, okay, and basically this is the Geekdom welcome link, and I think it's not connected to the actual thing now. Welcome link. Anyway, I'm changing the way this thing kind of works. Okay. So let's roll this one back, but let's play around with views index. So this is the way stuff is rendered here, and is that we go into the server side and the views on the server side, and sorry, these are basically when the URLs, because when I access those files, those were server-side accesses. So I went to Geek, anyone can access this, authenticated. All of those are express routes. So basically, when I define these routes here, you can see them. It's trying to get this specific route, and it returns something else. But in different, here you have like Geekdom render, okay? This actually comes from the actual package, and this is how it actually renders the index HTML on the public side, this one. So this is, let's say I want to play around with this. So let's get rid of all of this stuff, and this stuff, and this stuff. Also, I'll have H1. And you see I have the Geekdom controller that was scaffold, in Angular. And I'll just come here and do geek time, okay? Okay, and then I have articles, blah, blah, blah. And now if I go to, sorry. First my URL here, yes. Luckily there's Git, so let's come here. I'll do there. I don't have Git. this stuff. Just look at reference. Do like in package foo. Packages custom. Public. Something I probably heard in the app.js, but I had like a full example page, this example page. Okay. See if that helped. Yeah, okay, so we have geek time. If you look into that, and we start changing the actual markup and stuff of this page. So here I can, let's say I want to add a specific Bower component. So we had this story about this guy that wanted to integrate a video player to the actual site. Wait, I'm just gonna move this here. So there was, inside the Facebook, this guy was trying to integrate video.js. So I'll try to, you can look here. Let's install that as reference, okay? And you can see how you can do slightly more complex stuff. Install video. So we saw how we created a different package, different, UI, different HTML for that package. And now, let's say I told you we want people to be able to share that package and publish it within the MEAN network. So basically, you'd come here, and you do MEAN package Geekdom publish, I think. I don't remember if it's PLD, DD bar. So basically I can do like a MEAN help anything. Okay, so that would be MEAN package publish Geekdom. Yeah. Oh no, sorry. It's MEAN publish Geekdom. Okay, so now it's giving like a little disclaimer. Look, you're going to take all of this specific package. You'll make it, publicly available. So if I do yes, okay. What it's doing now, it's creating a repository in git.mean.io, and it's pushing the code over there. So I can actually jump over here to git.mean.io. And your MEAN here. If I do git push MEAN.io mask, basically this should be under my name, I think. Activity. Well, this is what's supposed to happen. So you take the actual package, you publish it to the MEAN network, and then we kind of overview it. We see that everything that works. And once everything works, you know, we will help you kind of publish. A lot of time people are just kind of trying to get things integrated. And as we kind of mature as a system, what's happening is that we'll work with the package publishers. That's the way we worked with QED42 on getting stuff out there and having it kind of stably out there. So we get that stuff outside. Before I kind of walk you through like the articles package or stuff like that, is there any questions till now? Yes, the name that you'd create would be what you'd have like in public, you know, inside the server stuff, you know, like find the actual thing here. So inside we have bar, inside packages, inside even the custom and Geekdom. So you have the public, that's the Angular part, and you have the server, that's the server part. So if I walk you, let's look 1 second on the articles package. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so basically this is one of the core packages, and you use and you change the actual package when it's used to actually learn about how to create basic CRUD. You have like an object, you want to create it, remove it, and basically how to address this thing both from the Angular point of view and the server point of view. So if I look at the packages in articles, again, I look at the app.js. I see it has 2 menus, okay? One of them is all articles, and the other one is create article. So you know we already know this. It looks kind of familiar from here. Okay. Let's try it. Okay. So this is our. So all articles give me all of the articles in the system. If I create a new article, this is my foobar title, and I'll just, this is just a game I had before that, so title, it's like the Prelaysos folder text inside, and this is the foobar content. So basically what this did, if I open something like RoboMongo, just is to look at the object itself, and I look at the collection, you know, and look at the articles collection, okay? So I'll see this last thing, this foobar title and this foobar content, okay? And basically, what we're going to do, and you know, with that we can, how are we about with time? You know, how much? Okay. Neat. Sure. So I'll walk you through basically how this works. You know, how they start from the Angular and it get trickle into the server, into the Mongo. So basically, this one. So we have it here. So we looked at that form, and stuff was in the end saved in the database. We're, you know, doing this whole kind of full stack thing. So I start, because it's in the form and inside the Angular, I go to public and to views and to create, because basically that's the actual page that I use to actually fill in this information. Now you see this is where I have the mean token for create title and the mean token for create content with the information there. So basically, as we look at any view, in the top we have the actual controllers. So to use the information from here, we need to go, and this is like basic Angular. We just need to go and check out the controller. So we check out the controller up here, okay? And here, we know that what's going to happen in the create HTML. It'll create this create title, da, 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 da. Then we have this button that does like a submit of this information. And that submit, in turn, creates it and fires the actual create here. 1 second. Okay. And it's taking the, it's creating like a new, preparing a new resource that's going to be sent to the articles. So we have like the actual create, the title and the content, and it's saying exactly which, it's saving this specific response. This, if I'm correct, is a service, okay? So basically it's going to connect, that service specifically connects to this express endpoint. So basically if we go, express is not in the public, it's in the server. And if we go here, we see that same route, this articles. So if I just do a slash articles, even if I come to the UI and I do a slash articles, you see I can show you how to play around. I get the JSON of that slash articles. But I'm not doing a get, I'm doing an actual post. So in slash articles, I don't have an ID yet. It's going to get an ID. So it says, look, I require login. But theoretically, I could have added like another middleware here of has authorization, you know, all kinds of checks on the actual information. So, and initially what it does is it does this articles create. Now this articles create is coming from the articles controller. Now this time it's the Node.js controller. And you see before that we were inside from the view to the Angular controller, and now this is from the Node.js to this controller in here. And if I go to exports.create, this is the actual function. Now if you see, it's running a new article on the request body. So I'm preparing everything in the Angular side, just passing it up the wire through the Angular service. And then the actual body, I use it as the functions to create a new user and to actually save it. Now when I save that user, I think there's you see this mongoose invocation here. That was a new article based on that rec body. So that invocation from mongoose comes from the models, which is basically the schema that has been saved in that RoboMongo thing. So here I have like automatic, like this create, you see it's a date now, and I have the actual title and the content, and it's filling in the actual user as well. So the idea is this is how it comes from the actual Angular, trickles up, you know, through the service, and it goes the exactly same. If I want to have a list, let's say I want to look at this. This was like get all of the articles. Let's kind of walk through that. No, we're not going to take this call, Skype call, sorry. It's my sister. Shall we take it? All right, all right. Now we're going to freak her. She's like 8. 1 second. Hila? Hila? Hello! We need to I'm kind of preoccupied, so I'll speak to you a bit later. Bye-bye. She's like, okay. Anyway, she's like supposed to give birth like in any minute now, so we may have actually brought the baby to the world. Anyway, so where were we? Okay, so we said we'll look at all of the articles. How does this work? I just got all articles, got a list of all of the articles, and that was funny. Anyway, let's go here. So models, and here's the public. We access that URL of the articles through hashbang articles. Remember, if we have the hashbang, it's an Angular route. If we have the slash, it's a express route. And if you're using HTML5 mode, you get all mixed up. No, but that's it. It gives you like clean URLs. We're working on that as well. So let's look and do the same kind of drill down on how we see a list of packages, a list of stuff from the articles. So I go to public, and I know I always start from routes. So I have routes. Inside routes, I have this slash articles all route, which is basically this kind of state of all articles. I have this articles, and it's saying, look, go to template URL articles views list HTML. So I go to views list HTML, and here I see ng repeat. Okay, again, it's using the articles controller, and it's running this kind of and running a find the find function within that controller. So if we jump to the controller, you can kind of try to see what find is. Here's to find articles query. It gets all of the articles. This articles, again, this is the service. You see it's a capital A, so it's a service. If we go to services, we have this. It's getting like this slash articles without anything, without the optional ID. So it's saying, okay, bring me the actual articles. I go back to the controller, and that find simply takes the scope and puts all of the article objects within the scope. But to do so, it's going to connect to the server, and then always go to routes first, slash articles. This time it's a get. Before that it was a post. Here it took articles.all, okay? And when we want to see what this .all is, we go to the articles controller on the server side. And I think there's a .all someplace here. Yeah. So and this does the article find, the sort, the stuff like that. Just queries the database, gets the list of information, and populates the Angular side. So I just called the Angular service. It did a bunch of stuff in the Express, gave all this information back. And then if I go back to the public list, so remember we filled scope articles? Yay, so now we have article in article. And if we come here and do something like this, okay. So we have live reload, so this stuff kind of, it senses. So we can see the object we just got back. And then it's just iterating on this object. So we have this little title, the date, all of this stuff is this stuff. Article created or date medium, and this filter the date medium, username, stuff like that. So basically what I'm trying to kind of communicate is that there is a really helpful community to help you work on your own kind of packages. You don't need to, even if you want to change the UI or do stuff like that, the blog is filled with all kinds of tips how to do that and change different aspects of your application. Don't touch the core packages or we will cut off your hands. No, it's not, it's very challenging to type with stumps. Anyway, the whole idea is that just play with it. Tell us what we think. There's a nice community in Facebook. We're trying to, sometimes, if we're not in RSC, we're in different time zones, so bear with us. But we're trying to get the kind of more of the US community. There's a big community in India, big in Ukraine. It's kind of a global thing, and people really like it. And I hope you have fun playing with it. Yay. I'll send my regards to my sister.